Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. Tout d'abord, je vous souhaite la bienvenue à tous ceux qui sont venus de très très loin. Et pour ceux qui habitent déjà à Bruxelles, soyez les bienvenus chez vous. Comme vous le savez déjà, chez nous, il y a des milliers de familles bruxelloises qui habitent dans des logements insalubres, trop petits ou encore trop chers. Avoir un logement qui convient à chaque famille est très important pour la santé, ainsi pour l'avenir de nos enfants. Chers militants, il est donc nécessaire à chaque famille, même à faible revenu, d'avoir un logement digne. Malheureusement, on remarque qu'il n'y a pas assez de logements pour tous. J'ai de la chance d'être parmi vous ce soir pour vous faire part de projets que nous espérons accomplir avec des différentes associations qui se sont mises avec nous, le groupe Arc-en-Ciel, composé de 32 familles, pour travailler avec le fonds de logement, pour essayer de construire de beaux logements où nous pouvons vivre tous ensemble. Ces logements seront faits sur base de principes de community land trust. Cela veut dire que ces logements ne seront pas seulement accessibles pour nous, nos familles, mais resteront toujours accessibles à prix adorable quand les premiers habitants auront vendu leur logement. Ce qui fait que le projet CLT avec le groupe Arc-en-Ciel sera l'un des premiers en Europe. Tandis qu'aux États-Unis, le système a déjà montré qu'il fonctionne très très bien. Ça permet à des milliers de familles à faible revenu d'avoir accès à un bon logement. C'est pour cette raison que nous sommes très heureux que des spécialistes de Community Land Trust des États-Unis et de l'Angleterre sont venus pour partager avec nous leur grande expérience. Cela nous fait un grand plaisir. Nous espérons que ça va nous donner encore plus de force pour aboutir à ce projet, ainsi que la création de nouveaux projets en Belgique. Je vous remercie d'avoir écouté et je vous souhaite une bonne fin de soirée.
Quand je vois le chemin qui a été parcouru entre 2009 et aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on peut être très très fier de pouvoir ouvrir la voie dans ce pays à cette nouvelle forme d'habitat. Il faut toujours être créatif et essayer de trouver des nouveaux moyens pour aider les publics avec les revenus les plus bas à accéder, sinon à la propriété, ou en tout cas à certaines formes de propriété. Et ce qui était intéressant, et ça m'avait beaucoup frappé, quand j'ai commencé à m'intéresser à cette problématique, c'est qu'on a à Bruxelles en tout cas, et je pense ailleurs aussi en Belgique, en Flandre, en Wallonie, un secteur associatif qui est très dynamique et qui n'est pas simplement là comme un contre-pouvoir aux politiques, même s'il doit aussi faire ça, mais qui est aussi là en venant avec des propositions, en gérant un certain nombre de situations aussi. Et dans le domaine social, dans le domaine du logement, nous sommes assez fiers à Bruxelles d'avoir effectivement un secteur associatif très fort. Depuis vendredi passé, le Parlement a voté dans le Code du logement, c'est-à-dire dans le texte où on retrouve toutes les règles pour le logement à Bruxelles, le principe du Community Land Trust. Il est donc aujourd'hui reconnu légalement à Bruxelles comme un des dispositifs, un des moyens de pouvoir aider des personnes à accéder à une belle forme d'autonomie, à pouvoir accéder à un logement décent via le Community Land Trust.
The Community Land Trust movement is born out of the civil rights struggle of African Americans in the American South. It begins in 1961 in Albany, Georgia. The very first nonviolent protests for civil rights were in Albany, Georgia, and that's a small town about 250 miles southeast of Atlanta, nowhere known on the map. It was an oppressive time. Our people were not treated with equality. We had virtually no rights. Even though we were freed from slavery, we still were, in essence, enslaved. There were two brothers who lived in Albany, a man named Slater King and his brother, C.B. King. No first name, just two initials, C.B. And it's ironic, or not so ironic, their last name is King because they were cousins of the famous Dr. Martin Luther King. So they started the movement in Albany, the very first, again, nonviolent protest for civil rights. So it's a family matter of the King family to embrace civil rights. About 1,000 protesters were jailed over a one-year period, and while they were jailed, they were treated inhumanely. They were beaten. Slater King's wife, Marion, she was beaten while providing food and supplies to the jailed protesters. At the time, she was pregnant and she lost her child. So they didn't stop. They carried on. Eventually, in 1963, a man named Bob Swan came to Albany from Ohio. He was friends with a lot of the civil rights protesters who had come from the north to the south. They were jailed, and he was trying to help them, to free them. So he got in touch with C.B. King, an attorney in Albany, an African-American man, to see if he could help. And he became fast friends with C.B. and his brother Slater, and they began to work together. At one point, Slater King encountered a woman named Faye Bennett, and she was the head of a government program called the National Sharecroppers Fund. And they were trying to help African-American farmers gain ownership of land in the South, and again, in Georgia in particular. So Slater and Bob Swan and Faye Bennett all started thinking about what they could do to improve access to ownership of land for our people. And Faye Bennett came up with the idea of putting together a trip to Israel to look at cooperative models of land ownership in Israel at the time, kibbutz, if you've heard that term. That was popular in Israel. So they all went to Israel, and they came back very inspired. So they began to think about how they could translate what they had seen in Israel to the United States, again, in a context in the American South that was oppressive. There was no real equality under the law. In 1968, in July, there was a meeting called in Atlanta of civil rights leaders. And all the people I've mentioned thus far who were interested came to that meeting. And they decided to form a planning committee to create a new organization that would allow rural farmers, African-American farmers, to lease collectively land and actually live on and work on that land under a new model called a community land trust. C.B. King and his brother Slater drew up the organizational documents for that first community land trust, and they went out and raised money and bought the first land, the farm, to create that first community land trust called New Communities. And New Communities had struggles of its own over the years. At one point, there was a terrible drought, and they weren't able to produce any products on the farm. They weren't then able to pay back a number of loans that they had taken out to buy farm equipment or build houses and do various things that you would need to do. They went and applied to a state agency that was giving out loans to white farmers, but they were denied because they were black farmers working on this new community land trust land that they thought was communist and socialist, along with being for minorities at the time. So New Communities was eventually sold off. They went into foreclosure, but Shirley Sherrod and her husband Charles filed a lawsuit in the federal court in the United States, and eventually they prevailed in their lawsuit, and they were awarded $13 million. And they used that money to purchase new land just outside of Albany, and they have restarted New Communities. And I'm proud to say an acquaintance of mine from Atlanta is now running that organization. So we still have that first community land trust, and we have an amazing story. We call it the Arc of Justice, going from a time when there was no justice to finally benefiting from the hard work and the sacrifice of multiple American families who really were resilient and determined. And if I can say anything to you all here is that we're so proud that you all have chosen this model to try to emulate. And I know just from the passion that I've heard from talking with everyone over the last several days that you all will be equally successful in a shorter period of time, hopefully. But you know, it's deeply emotional for me to talk about this. In fact, this is the first time I've really talked about all of this story publicly. So you'll forgive me if I'm a little bit short and a little bit overcome. But again, this is a story about my people in Georgia and doing something that is affecting the entire world. We're making the world a better place for people that we may not know, but we still care for them. So if there's anything that I can do to help you all, please, a number of you, feel free to reach out to me. I was helped by Brenda Torpy and Emily and all the other people in the Community Land Trust movement in the United States. And now you're part of that legacy. So be proud like the rest of us are proud.